individual piece. There's nobody that wants a business to be litigated out of business. They're going to be tough enough just surviving. On the other hand, we don't want to throw caution to the wind that the businesses aren't safe places to work, the workers not protected, and the people that patronize these places of businesses are not in a safe environment. We have to take all that in consideration, do the best we can. I remind you this, it's for a short period of time. A short period. We're not changing the tort laws forever. We're just trying to get through an emergency period.
So a new bill has been passed. There are more states proposing new stimulus, and these checks are expected to be sent out pretty soon, guys. Now, thanks to a huge budget surplus and leftover American Rescue Plan funds, states are approving inflation checks. Grocery bills on the rise with higher prices for most items, and significant increase in the cost of eggs is pretty much going bad. Now, the CPI increased 0.1% and increased again by the consumer spending on food. They're all drivers of high food prices, and according to experts, climate change has also affected agricultural output, which has meant less food out in the market and less food in. Although it's hard to say when food prices will begin to come down, an economist expects that it could happen in the next 6 months or so. Individual states are currently rebating the stimulus checks to residents to help offset this increase in the cost of gas, utilities, other expenses. Now, other states would like to send their residents new rebate checks. Minnesota families could receive up to $2,600, and under a plan from the governor, you can get also a lot of money from this stimulus check. Individuals who make up to $75,000 a year could receive a check of up to $1,000 each, and for married couples, the threshold for a $2,000 check is $1,500. Parents could receive an additional $200 for the rebate check for each child. The maximum benefit for a family is around $2,600. As many as 2.5 million Minnesota households are expected to receive a check if the plan is adopted. The governor wrote out the final chapter of his budget proposal, and he said it's time. Time for Social Security benefits to increase. Time for people to get stimulus checks. I agree. I think it's time for people to get stimulus. Not only that, folks, but listen to this. As part of a 2-year budget deal, $4.4 billion is being sent in extra spending for schools, $1 billion for tax credits, and another one for people in need. So like I'm telling you guys, Walt said the tax benefit could make a meaningful difference for the Minnesota families. And he said it was important to hand some of that funding directly to taxpayers, just to let them decide how to spend their money the best. Walt told reporters today that the checks are a big difference for housing. It could be first and last month rent. It could be the things you need to do for your children. The proposal also included an increase in the state's capital gains tax, a payroll tax to fund the family's program, and increased vehicles to tab the fees. As part of a 2 full-year budget deal, Walt proposed more than $4.4 billion in extra spending. That's $4.4 billion going to people in need. If you can get that stimulus check, that would be great. But I also want to say another thing. Other states like Montana are discussing a new tax rebate payments. Both Republican governors and Republican majorities in the Montana legislature have identified tax relief as one of their top priorities. Lawmakers begin hearing the first set of major tax bills. Some differences have been appearing in exactly how they want to return the money to taxpayers, and one of the main priorities has been a property tax rebate, using some of that state's $2 billion surplus. He's backed the House bill with sponsors from the Representatives Tom Welch, and he initially proposed a rebate of up to $1,000 each. A lot of people can get stimulus this year, folks. Let's see it happen. Let's make it happen, Joe. What do you guys think about the fourth stimulus check this year in 2023? Is Joe Biden going to send it? I believe he will, because Joe Biden has nothing else to do but to send out stimulus checks. Folks, according to a report from the U.S. Government Accountability Office, more than $60 billion have been paid out in fraudulent unemployment insurance benefits during this time. Yes, fraudulent unemployment benefits during this time.
Looking for 6% growth this quarter, nearly double what it was forecast last month. Better growth expected to continue for the next 2 quarters, between 7 and 9%, before coming down to a still pretty strong 4.3% by year end. Most economists are figuring in about $1.6 trillion of new fiscal relief, but they're also growing inflation concerns, something that's sure to come up.
Employment benefits kept her afloat until someone somewhere took all of her money.
When I looked at my statement and went, all my money's gone.
Diane suddenly found dozens of mysterious charges on her EDD account, many of them from a company in Africa.
What is this? Hugo host West Africa, South Africa? Like, I don't know.
All she knew was her unemployment benefits were gone.
$7,000 taken out of my account. It hurts.
Diane immediately called Bank of America.
House Representatives already signed a bill that includes $1 trillion in spending. Biden is ready to pass new legislation, and the bill has several provisions that will affect millions of Americans. Americans can expect to see a drastic change in their benefit checks, and according to the White House, the House of Representatives already passed a sweeping $2 trillion bill. It will keep the government funded from this year to next. The bill passed 225 to 201, with Republicans supporting the bill and with Democratic Representatives Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez voting no. Still, Joe Biden, who sent a statement just after the passage that he signed the bill into law as soon as it reached his desk, applauded its bipartisan support. Biden signed the short-term funding bill into law today, officially averting a government shutdown. This is the most important stimulus check, Social Security news, and SSI and SSDI information that I want you to know, so continue watching because you don't want to miss out on. More money is coming to American people. An exact date has been announced for a one-time direct deposit of a bonus payment. A check is going to be worth at least $600, set to go out to thousands of eligible Americans. And here's some exciting news. Thousands of city employees in Denver see a $600 bonus, which the city council approved this week amid a staffing shortage. The new bonus is expected to cover roughly 8,300 of the city's people. It will lead to the government spending about $6 million in the state. The new bonuses are expected to go out after this week and no later than the end of the month. Additional funds will go to residents across the state on January 31st, and also with $750 going to individual filers and $1,500 for joint filers as well. The council measure is expected to cover 5,700 of the employees, with the Department of Human Services and the city's airport handing out bonuses separately. The funds will come from city savings that are stored up after the city failed to fill certain roles. According to officials, the bonuses are an appreciation for the service in 2022 when staffing shortages continue to impact departments and agencies across the city. Other workers got triple bonuses, double overtime pay, pay adjustments, and temporary retention bonuses due to problems with staffing. So now, also in the state of California, and according to the California Franchise Tax Board, the state has already issued $7.5 billion in middle-class tax refunds. 6.9 million payments have been sent out via direct deposit. 6 million also in direct deposit checks. Because according to state officials, the bonuses are an appreciation for services in 2022. So, economists have been forecasting a recession for months now. Now most of them are already starting to appear up. Whether it's deep or shallow, it's up for debate, but the idea for the economy going into a period of recession is pretty much the consensus. So, Mark Zandi, a chief economist, told CNBC, when you have high inflation and the Fed is jacking up interest rates to quell inflation, it results in a downturn or a recession. When inflation picks up and the Fed responds by pushing up interest rates again,